So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the RGM Experience podcast with me, Carl Maloney, that guy from RGM, bothering you again for another week here at the Music Industry Podcast, delving into the grassroots music industry and beyond and finding interesting people within it. And today's no different, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined by presenter, interviewer, DJ, gamer. She does the lot. It's Louise Schofield. Hi, mate.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm
That
all
was
right,
good.
mate. You?
It's good, yeah. I like the little. Is I forget sometimes what I do, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I do little bits like that. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Well, we usually have bands on and that kind of stuff, comedians and that kind of stuff. But I
Yeah.
don't have I hadn't had a fellow interviewer on for a while, and I kept bothering you over the last couple of years over in Bridlington saying, I've got to get you on the podcast, got to get you on the podcast, and here we are, ready for shits and giggles and just have a laugh on that, mate.
You said my name 3 times and I appeared. Do you know what I mean? That's how it works. That's how it works.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
So, if anybody's not aware of what you do, Louise, do you want to give us a little introduction to what you do and tell the people about you?
Yeah, of course. So I am a presenter. I do a lot in I started out doing music and I do still do a lot in music and
Hmm.
interview a lot of bands. I present for a lot of festivals and things like that. I also present in different areas as well. I've done some sport, I've done kind of like entertainment, red carpet, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do sort of professionally. And then I also do gaming streams as well. So I've started to get on the old TikTok and play horror games and get myself scared while chatting to people, which is quite fun. And it is funny, so that's good. It's nice. And then I've also done a bit of DJing as well. I DJ at a lot of festivals, do a lot of indie sets, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
a little bit of everything, really.
Do you feel like you've got to do everything these days just to try and
Yeah.
like stand out from the crowd and be in amongst the media, which for a lot of people it's quite like it's a big ambition, isn't it, to get into media and to
Massive. Oh, you've got to really graft for it. I think you've got to really want it because I remember, some people think I've come out of nowhere. I think like they've
yeah
just popped up, but I've been doing it for a long time. I started out doing a blog when I was younger because I really wanted to do it, and I was thinking how I could get into it at the time. So I started out a blog, and then I had a radio show at uni, and then I started to bring bands in, and then I started to film stuff, and then it kind of rolls like that. But I mean, I think now, it can be a lot of a quicker process in terms of like the platforms that you have, like TikTok and stuff like that, that can launch you tomorrow. I only had YouTube when I first started, so I had to kind of like just push on that, which was so oversaturated because that was the only video platform that was available, really. So it is a long game. It's definitely a long game, but you've got to love the craft of it. But it does eventually, if you keep going with stuff, it does come through.
yeah.
It takes time, but it does come through.
It's similar kind of chat that you have with bands, isn't it? You just got to keep sticking
Yeah.
at it and grinding and trying to find. Same with me with RGM. I'm just trying to find different pockets of the music industry and comedy industry and just try and have interesting chats and produce good stuff. Really,
That's it.
I
And
don't
it
know.
all interlinks as well. There's loads of different interlinks, I think. And I think as long as you love something, you can just
Yeah.
get stuck into it. And it doesn't feel like you're grafted at it, does it? Because you just enjoy the ride of it. I think that's the main thing
Well,
that
I,
I
I
try and take away.
I still like complaining about how busy I am with it all, but I want
Oh,
change.
yeah, 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 of course. Yeah, you gotta add that. Yeah, I saw. God, it's just rammed, guys.
I know. So just before you started this media empire, then
Yeah.
what were you, just rewinding a little bit? What were you like before you got into this industry? What like talk us through the landscape of what you were like as little Louise, just growing up and before you got into this thing.
Yeah, I was really shy, and
Yeah.
I think I was so shy, and I always loved music. So my sister had a really good music taste as well. So she was 5 years older than me, so I was kind of lucky that like everything she can listen to, it got passed down onto me, and lucky it was like indie. And then we started out quite emo, really. We did like a lot of the like Fall Out Boy, and I started out with a My Chemical Romance kind of vibes, The Offspring, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I always loved music. And then because my sister was 5 years older, when the Arctic Monkeys came out, the first album, that kind of got ingrained into me. And then I got into the Strokes and things. So I kind of like, I've always loved an eclectic mix of music as well. So always loved a lot of 60s music and all that kind of stuff. Because my dad always got me into like the Small Faces and the Kinks and the Beatles. And my mum got me into like Blondie. So I always loved like the 80s, 70s, 80s kind of thing as well. So I think like the love for music was always grounded in my upbringing. Like I was always listening to like the more rock side of things than maybe some of my friends were kind of more in the mainstream and I liked that kind of area.
Mm.
So I always knew that I was really interested in that. So obviously when music TV started to come about, I loved watching that. And I used to love watching T4 and all the MTV stuff and the music videos and all that kind of stuff. so that was like, I used to watch that and I used to think, oh, I'd love to do that one day. That'd be really cool. But I was always really shy. So for me, like going into anything that would be in front of a camera or in front of a microphone or anything like that was just like, oh my God, no, I don't think I can do that. But I started drama when I was about 13.
Okay.
And that kind of pushed me into being out there a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But I kind of enjoyed being a different character because I think like when you're a character, you don't have to be yourself. Because I was still shy up until I was about 18. I was so shy. And then I think when you start to like do radio and do different things like that, you are putting yourself out there and people are listening to you. So it gives people the opportunity to come in and chime in if they have something to say. Because everyone has an opinion, don't they, on things. But then so I kind of developed a bit of a tough skin with that. And I was like, you know what? No, I really like what I'm doing. And, you know, because I'm passionate about it, the shyness kind of fell away because I just loved music. And when I started talking to bands and stuff, I was like, I just love this because I love music and I love chatting to bands and things like that. And then I think when you find a passion, if something is ingrained in you that kind of scares you, it goes away because you don't really care what other people think you. I think that's where shyness come from. It's a worry of what other people think of you, but you kind of got to let that just float away and just go away.
I can remember the moment when I started to think, oh fuck, what anybody else thinks, and it was such a weight off your back, really.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Not worrying what other people think and just doing your own thing. It's a big stage in people's life, isn't it?
It really is. And I think even now, like it's more important than ever to do that because I feel like with social media, like you can see what other people are doing all the time. And there is a tendency to compare people's journeys and things like that. But if you just stay in your own lane and just think, right, okay, no, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. It's great to see successes of other people and you can see them fly in. And I love to see that, like, especially with bands, like I love to see bands just absolutely smashing through and it's so exciting. But you've got to stay in your own lane and just, you know, go, right, okay, that's cool. I'm going to just focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you live in your own bubble then, I think, and it's important. Otherwise, you kind of get all this other noise coming in and it can distract you a little bit sometimes, I think.
So shy lass at school then, before you get into it?
Yeah, very shy, very shy. I don't know why it was. I just was just totally... It was weird. I don't know where it comes from because I'm really not very shy now, so I don't know where it's gone. But yeah, really shy.
And where was home? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Nottingham.
Right.
So yeah, so I luckily, I mean, the good thing about Nottingham is like it has so much great music and just the scene there was wicked. Jake Bugg was coming up at the same time. I was kind of like leaving school and stuff, and like Rock City was just always a venue that me and my friends loved to go to. I think Nottingham as a place growing up for music lovers, it was awesome. It was just like, it's got a lot of heritage and it had so many it still has the great venues. Like, a lot of those venues have stood the test of time as well. Yeah. But I think Nottingham in general, like, you know, Midlands is a weird one really, because you are just in the middle of the country and things like that. And you kind of just like, you kind of get on with stuff there, I think. But yeah, I think Nottingham was, I've always got a big place in my heart for Nottingham and growing up there. I did leave when I was 18, but that was for uni. So
fair enough. And where did you go to uni?
I went to uni in Cardiff, actually.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, which was great because I mean, I really wanted. I've always been someone that I like to go to different places that are quite far away from home. So I was like, where's a uni that's really far away from home? And I was like, let's go to Cardiff. Yeah, but it was good. It was good.
Yeah. And how did you find the transition and the people in Cardiff? You know, completely different part of the world. How did you get involved with all that?
Yeah, I think when I got there, because I was doing a creative course anyway, like. I've always been a doer and I've always been someone that's like, I need to make something of myself. I need to go and do things and learn things. And I feel like everyone there was so friendly for a start. I think it was great. And I think being around like-minded people there was great because they were all doing either videography or music, or they were doing, I did a performance and media course, which was like radio and things like that. So there was loads of people around me that were creative. And I feel like that was good. And they were all really nice. And Cardiff is such a small city. So you make friends very quickly. You'd go out in uni, you'd go to one club, they'd be in the next club. You'd see, you can't hide from anyone in that city. But it's really nice. I think it's a really nice grounding place. And I don't know, yeah, it's got a charm to it. And the Welsh music scene has always been just incredible. So, you know, there's some great bands that were coming out there at the time and still are. So it was great to be around all that in Cardiff.
What was the actual course like? Because I did a HND in media production, and there's loads of different elements for these type of things, and there's some of it you're not interested in, some of you are. I always loved the radio side of it, but I hated analysing a film's part of it. I just couldn't get on with, you know, trying to like
the written stuff,
write stuff about Alfred Hitchcock and stuff. I just had no interest in doing that.
Doesn't help me. Yeah,
I wanted to do the video stuff, and that was before digital back when I was at no
Yeah.
college in Sheffield doing that,
Yeah.
doing all that, and it would just it's such a short period of time, really, when you look at it all. But just how technology changes and how easy it is now these days that you can do most stuff on your phone, where you had to carry this big brick around with you. In my
Yeah, you don't. You could do a radio show from your phone. You just plug a
yeah,
mic in now, can't you?
yeah,
And you're just like, sorted.
yeah, it's ace, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good. I think it was a cool course. It was performance and media, so it was kind of like you did same as you like you'd go in bits. So it was a bit of like acting, then it was also like presenting, and then it was radio. So it had a bit elements of everything. But then there was like written sides of it. And I was going off and doing stuff. So I like got work experience with Kerrang Radio, and
Mm.
I remember like there was this, my course leader was like, you can't take the time off to go and do that. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing a course to help me get into the industry. So I need to go and do that. And they were like, no, because you've got this essay that's due in. And I was like, no. So I went anyway. I did, I was like, I was one of them where I was like, well, I knew at the time that you need experience in order to get anywhere in this industry.
Yeah.
And I was like, an essay is not going to get me a radio show, or it's not going to get me a presenting show, or it's not going to do anything. So, I think that's the only like tie with it. Sometimes they're like, yeah, but you need to finish this thing on your course. I'm like, I don't care. Not interested.
That's the problem with education sometimes, isn't it? There's these tick box things that they need you to do for them, not really for you, in it. And it's kind of
like, it's the whole. I thought the whole point is to go out and get a degree so you can work in that industry. And it's like they kind of clip your wings a little bit sometimes, but.
Yeah, but so you always had a strong head on you then. You can say no.
Yeah, when it comes to career, I'm very strong-headed. Yeah, I know. And I think I learned what I wanted from an early age. And, I was doing work experience at the BBC as well, and doing loads of bits there. Like I was just doing everything I could at uni, like student radio. I had another radio show on like a local station as well. And yeah, I very much, I think when I went to uni, I kind of was doing more stuff outside than probably concentrating on the course. Yeah. But, I think, this is like but there was bits of the course I love it, the presenting side of it. I'd love to go into that. But the more theory side, I was always like, I'd rather be doing a radio show, which isn't good. Stay in school, kids. Don't do that. But yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think I don't know what I'm going to say here, but it just it doesn't work for everybody, does it? And it's generally in schools. No. There's people with different learning needs, different social, economical needs as well. And school doesn't work for everybody. And even when it does work for you, there's always parts that won't work for you. So I like to see what you did there and said, no, I'm still going to go out. I'm still going to do this stuff. I like that. Yeah,
definitely. I think and I've learned so much from that. I think because I get a lot of people asking me for advice. Some people want to know how to get into presenting and things like that. And I always say just go and do. And you can just get, like you said, get on your phone now, and you can just like film something or start a little TikTok series or something like that. Like I would have loved TikTok when I first started doing this. I would have been on it all the time.
you do see people like say, how would you get into it? And there's real path. There isn't. That's got no experience. There isn't a path with somebody with no experience. You're best off just going out, doing your own little thing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Make that the best it can be. Then you've got all the experience in doing that, and then you'll just naturally meet people around you that can
and you can nail it.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. When I used to go to festivals and with my own stuff, and I'd go down with my microphone and my camera and everything. I used to meet so many people there that would just like, be like, oh, that's sick, or and then people start to see what you're doing and be like, oh yeah, I saw you do this and I saw you do that, and then you start to realize that what you're doing is getting out into the world. And I think that's really important because sometimes you don't see what's going on and you think, oh, nothing's working, nothing's happening, but until someone says, oh no, I have seen you that you did, you're like, oh, that's really cool, thank you so much, like really great you've seen it, because it means that something's happening, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't realize if it is or not.
Yeah So how important is it to like brand yourself these days? How much thought do you put into that kind of stuff? I'm always, I think I've got a decent, like, nice little logo now. I've kind of settled on
it's looking swish.
It is, mate. But over the years, a lot's changed in the name of it, and I'm just trying to make it look professional, fake it till you make it type thing, really. How much do you put on branding and all that kind of stuff for Louise Schofield, the brand?
Oh yeah, I think for me, like I'm a bit, because I know I'm like, my personality is a little bit, I'm quite goofy a lot of the time, and it's very like when you meet me, it's very like anyway, and that's what my presenting is like. So I think for me, I always said like, I think I wanted to come across almost quite real on social media. Like I never have been cool, so I think I always wanted to be like just like I'm someone that likes to have a laugh. Like I'm not very serious, and and like that comes across my interviews as well. Like it's always very bantery, and I think when I was branding myself, I just wanted to showcase what I am. So like,
Yeah.
like if I post about music, I'll post, if I do little videos, things like that, I tend to bring a bit of humor into stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I always said with like, especially with like Instagram in particular, I wanted that to be a work only space. Instead of sharing lots of bits of my life sort of like outside. So I tend to like stick with just work stuff. I'll maybe post the occasional thing that I do outside of work. But genuinely, I think my branding was to keep it quite succinct in that way. But ever since I started to do gaming and like stuff outside of music as well, it was kind of thinking how to kind of incorporate that because I started out with such a music-based audience on Instagram. So it was kind of thinking how I could keep people engaged when I'm saying, oh, I'm also presenting this now and I'm also presenting this. So it's kind of like becoming an umbrella for yourself, really. And I think the Louise Schofield umbrella, I wanted it to be like, I'm doing other things in different areas, but it's still got my personality kind of induced into there. So I try and share those things on social media, really. But it's very difficult. I think. I think for an artist, it's really important, and I think like for them to give off because when you're kind of describing a piece of music or something like that, it's very important. And I could just be a goofy personality, so I'm happy with that. But like I always think if I had to brand myself as an artist, I think I'd have to really think about that, I think, because I think it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? Branding yourself in that world rather than a sort of like personality world.
And what I've found as well, let me know your thoughts on this, is that I
Yeah.
to have my own, because originally when you start these social media accounts, you end up with no followers and it's just a graft
Oh, yeah.
anywhere to get a few numbers or get a few people interested in it. And what I found was because I was using my own personal ones originally, but
Yeah.
just getting too much on a personal level. It would just, people messaging you at all times of it. Like bands, they don't give a shit. They'll message you at 3 a.m. just thinking it's normal.
Yeah, a little cheeky DM. Yeah.
So you have to kind of like separate your personal life with the media side of things as well. And I'm not very good at that at all. I've got my own personal like Twitter and Instagram accounts that I don't really use because I'm always doing RGM
Posted on that.
so
Yeah.
I'm trying to separate my personal life with the RGM stuff more and more these days because because you can never switch off sometimes and you need to, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I am a master at not being able to switch off. Like it's very difficult, I think. But I think that's good. I think that's the thing. Like, I think with the Instagram side, that's good that you've got that because I think I'm the same. I just want the professional Instagram, I'm not bothered about because I can keep the photos for myself. You know what I mean? I know when I do personal stuff because obviously I run Spillthesound. That's a separate account as well. So I've got that account and my account to run. So it's quite a lot when you're running two accounts, when you're two business accounts as well, to kind of make sure the content intertwines. And luckily I can intertwine the content because it's my show anyway. I can kind of bring them both in together, but it is keeping that personal and what you want to show on social media of your personal side and what you want to show of your professional side, I think.
Yeah. Well, when I'm running a music magazine for me, you get bands just sending me, just listen to this link to Spotify.
Yeah.
And I've just got an auto reply that just submit because fans don't send you enough information anyway, particularly newer ones. Eager just or they're probably spamming everybody on the lists to try to use to the music and that kind of stuff. So I've kind of had to separate that a little bit and just like do a standard reply. Please submit to the site. This is my personal page, all that kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Because otherwise you'll miss it because you get loads of DMs. I think that's the thing. No, yeah. Because I think I get a lot of that, and then it goes into my requests, and sometimes I miss bands kind of saying like some bands that will submit like say can you check my music out. I do miss it because it goes into my requests and sometimes I get notifications of my requests so I'm like oh no and then I'll look through and I'm like oh god someone sent me that like 4 weeks ago but yeah that's why I prefer emailed stuff. I do prefer stuff getting emailed as well. I think I don't mind people jobbing. I get job opportunities sometimes through Instagram and it goes through the DM. I don't mind that so much but any sort of like band sort of pushing music and things like that, I prefer it to go on email and have like a proper EPK or something information or things like that. So I agree because otherwise it gets too much. You kind of overstimulated. You're like, oh, I don't know where to look.
Yeah, it's just a nightmare. But it's gonna kind of like manage that kind of stuff, I suppose, when people want to share stuff with you, and it's a privilege to share music too.
I was gonna say, it's lovely.
It's just when there's tens of sometimes 50 a week, more, maybe
Yeah.
more. Sometimes it's just like, I can't manage all this. I just think
No,
I can
because you
do
want
it
to give it some
differently.
airtime as well, and you want to actually listen to what people are sending as well, don't you? And I think on an email it's a lot easier to do that, isn't it? Because you can kind of just like compartmentalize it and be like, right, I'm gonna sit down and I'll listen to this now. But it's
Yeah.
difficult. But I think that's the thing with social media; it's so accessible, isn't it? Everyone just kind of can slide in wherever now, can't they?
Whatever they want,
Yeah,
whenever they want. So,
yeah.
as an interviewer, I'm always intrigued to speak to other interviews. What's your process going into an interview? How do you plan for one of these things?
So I tend to go quite deep with the research. Like I've always said, when I first started doing interviews, I always said I'm going to give every band the same treatment, like whatever size they are, I'm going to give every band the same treatment. So when I first started out, like no matter their size, I'd basically research everything. I'd look through their Twitter and I'd look through
Mm.
Instagram and any nugget of information, like even to the point of like just before I'm going to interview them, I'll have a look on their socials to see if something funny has happened. Like I don't know, they were driving to the festival and their Fiat 500 broke down. You know what I mean? It's something like that, so I can
Yeah,
add in. So I like to find little anecdotes that people might not have asked them before. It's very difficult with some of the more sort of larger bands because they've been asked everything under the
yeah,
sun. But I like to dig as hard as I can because I'm always really interested when I see bands have worked with producers in particular or the nerdy kind of stuff in that because there's a lot of bands that work with similar producers and they and their sounds are really interesting and it's interesting why they've worked with that person on this particular project or whatever. So I like to look at the geeky stuff and then, I like to find the quirky stuff with maybe like something funny they've done on a music video or something they have put on social media that was really funny, things like that. So, yeah, I think it's kind of mixing the fun with the well-researched is always what I've gone for. And that's my process is I'll get all the research stuff first, get the bullet points, but I go off conversation a lot of the time. So as long as I get those key ones in, I'll
that's the
kind of
best
go
bit
off
for
what
me
they
when it
say.
does that.
Oh, it's so fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
So fun.
not knowing
Get
where
some
you
nuggets.
are and just go,
Yeah.
just like, okay, where's this going? Just go with it.
Yeah. Let's just go with it. Like, because you get the best stories then. And I think when an artist can do that, it shows they're quite comfortable with you as well,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
think is nice, isn't it?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I've got I only kind of like book bands these days for interviews when I'm always like, as we mentioned earlier, always on social media. And if I've seen like a funny thing from a band 3 or 4 times, I'm like, oh, they're interesting. I'll get
Yeah.
on. There's something about them. Or if I've met
Yeah.
somebody after a few beers at a festival and made me laugh, right, I will get you.
Oh,
You're,
yeah.
you're all right. That's all right. So like
Oh, definitely.
the what puts me off a band is when they're just posting sales stuff all the time and there's no personality. You can't really see any personality. All they're doing is listing gigs and ticket links and listen to my song without knowing anything about the band. Really, that kind of switches me off. Or
Yeah.
so it switches me off. It just passes you by. And then
You
if I
want to see a
come
bit of
across,
personality, don't
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yeah. I
that'd be the
think
best.
especially when you're like scrolling on social media, because I think there's so much stuff coming through. If something catches your eye, like a video or something like that, you're like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It's just having that extra bit of quirkiness about you, isn't it?
Is that where the bath came from then?
Yeah, yeah, that came from my brain. That came
Okay.
from sort of
That must be a nightmare.
oh my God, it's a weird pitch, let's put it that way. And I mean, because I like I said, I grew up on like watching T4 and MTV
Yeah.
and like especially MTV like Gonzo and stuff like that. I know they still do
Yeah.
Gonzo and stuff, and it's very quirky and it's got that. It's like a music interviews, but it's got that quirkiness to it. And I think um basically I always wanted to have a music show like T4. I always wanted that. But obviously it's a bit out of fashion now in this industry, which is a shame. It's just music telly is just not the same as it was. So basically I was just thinking, what can I do to make a music TV show interesting to a digital generation? And I was like, let's put them in a bathtub. And the yard in Manchester have been the people that have made it happen for me as well. Like, they're in collaboration with it with me, and they're the ones that they let us use the space and everything. And it's such a fantastic venue, the Yard. I just absolutely love it. And we're so lucky because they're in it with me, so we're partners in it, and they provide all the camera equipment for us and all that kind of stuff. And because it's quite a lot goes into it really, because it is like a proper full camera 4K broadcasted show, and we've got a sound engineer as well for obviously recording and mixing the sessions, and so a lot actually goes into it. But Yeah, it's one of those things where, because Jules Holland is still fantastic, that always looks absolutely brilliant. But I've noticed as well with Jules Holland, they are kind of doing more interviews, pulling that towards social media now as well. So it's just trying to fit music telly into this generation. So I thought, well,
I
what
thought you
if
had to
anyone
carry
was on
that
the show?
bath about with you all the time.
Oh no. So the tin bath stays in the venue, which is
Yeah, you're
good.
right. You're
Which
right.
is
Okay.
good. But we do have an inflatable one that we
Okay.
took to Leeds Festival this year. So yeah, so that's the on the road bath, but the traditional spill the sound bath, it sits there, so it's kind of good. It's a
That's
heavy
what I thought
bath.
you did. That's why I said it looked like a nightmare because I just imagine you just carrying that tin bath on a train or wherever you.
Literally, I know. I think it would be so funny to watch that tin bath on the road, genuinely. But yeah, it's a very like 1920s old school bath, so it's like yeah, it's proper weird, but
Oh, that's
it's
funny.
cool. Yeah.
I always find it interesting when I'm interviewing people, the kind of things that like run across your mind while you speak to people. Because particularly if you're doing like a live chat with someone at a festival,
Yeah.
you're always worried that is it recorded? Is it recorded? Is it on? Is it on?
Oh
And
God.
I have to check it like 10 times and I'm still not confident it's switched on.
Oh, no.
And then when an interview finishes, backing up that backing up whatever it is to make sure you've got it in two different places in case one
Oh,
messes up. How do you manage all that? Because I just have so much anxiety about it. I just can't sleep until I've just backed up something or I know that it's recorded. I can't. Sometimes in the early days, it was hard to relax on an interview because I was still like checking cameras all the time. Is red light still on?
yeah, oh God, when I used to film my own stuff, honestly, like there was a couple of times when I first started when it like either the mic wasn't working or the camera wasn't working. It was
Yeah,
always one or the other, so I could use one as a podcasting type thing,
yeah,
one as a
yeah.
another. But yeah, no, that's the worst. I still get that. If I film my own stuff, I get that anxiety now. I'm always like, what if it just malfunctioned and I don't know? But
Yeah.
luckily with Spill the Sound, we have because we've got like a production team,
Mm.
they're really good. So they'll back it up afterwards. So we have it on cards and then we'll have it on a Dropbox space as well. And that's just for me to download and sort of like check out and edit clips and all that kind of stuff. So we have it in a few different places. But I like when you kind of like doing your own stuff, it is terrifying. Like it is not good. But I mean, with Spittle Sounds, we're quite lucky because we have an ATEM. So we film on the cards of the cameras, but it also gets filmed on an ATEM where it kind of, so we basically
Okay.
can edit on the go as we do the show, but it puts all the clips onto that as well. So it's got a backup there, even with recording. Because the thing is, because if we lose a camera, it's just a nightmare
Yeah.
because it just ruins it, and it's a shame, isn't it, as well, if you ruin it, sound doesn't work
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that, and you never know with technology though, it can just go, it's terrifying. It's a
How
shame.
did you build that team around you then to have that like support and to basically take the pressure off you? You can just do your presenter thing and not have to worry about that kind of stuff, can't you? That must be ace.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's like because I do all this sort of admin stuff, so I'll book all the bands and I'll do all the pre stuff, and then when we're actually doing the show, yeah, it's out of my hands really. I just present. Um, so we've got so the people so at the yard we've been given sort of like a camera operator who looks after all the black magic equipment and things like that. So we're very lucky that they have an in-house kind of team, and then like my cameraman will bring in other people and that kind of thing. And in terms of sound, so we've got Dan Crowther who's worked with quite a few bands. He's worked with like the K's. He's worked with I think he's worked with Cobra Sets as well. And he's worked with like different bands over his time, so he's well accustomed with different people. And he has a studio at the Yard, so we kind of got he kind of got weaved in really. We introduced the show to him and he was willing to get on board and things like that. So yes, and he's great and he always gives us fantastic mixes, and we're very lucky. We've got a very talented team that, do the job well, and it's so nice because I mean I would not know how to set up a session. Like I've done like little sessions back in the day where it's very simple. It's like a microphone and like stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it's so good to have a sound engineer and a camera person that can just make it all happen for you. But I'm very lucky. It's kind of through the Yard I've met these people, and
Yeah.
there's been good and lots of connections there either way. I feel like in this industry I kind of have mutuals in every corner of the place as well, which is good. So
That's good. So how
yeah.
do you fund these type of things? Because it's not cheap for
No.
just to have someone else helping you out. It's not cheap. How do you fund that sponsorship and that kind of stuff? Or
It's tricky. I mean, we are actually looking for sponsorship at the moment, so we're looking for like that funding at the minute. So a
aren't we
lot
all,
of us have put,
mate? Aren't we all? It's
we're
hard work,
all
isn't
looking for
it?
funding. We've worked with a couple of sort of like brands and things like that that have given us a
Yeah.
little bit of a cash injection in
Yeah.
some places. And then we do sort of like tap into the yard sometimes, and that helps through a few episodes. But yeah, so it can get expensive. It is finding the funding streams from each place, and I think online is it's difficult, and it's like a little bit it's easier in some places, but it's a chicken and egg thing, isn't it? You've got to have like the subscribers and the views to get certain brands on board and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it is a tricky one. It's something that we're constantly navigating, but we kind of film in little bits at a time, so it's not too financially like all the time. So yeah, we do have the little bits of pocket of things coming through. So but it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah,
it's hard to start your own thing. It really is, unless you've got a lot of money. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Which I do not have.
Me neither. You just kind of
yeah.
Like I've got a gig in Manchester tonight at Gulliver's.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm still not sure if we're going to break even or sell enough tickets or not. Just with how things are with putting bands on and that kind of stuff. It's just
there's so much going on all the time, isn't there? Yeah. It's just like there's so many, especially Manchester, because there's so many venues, and there's always something going on, isn't there?
Yeah. So are you Manchester based now then?
I am. Yeah, I am. Best move I've made, I think. I love it.
And how long have you been over here? I feel the same way. I moved from Sheffield about 6 years ago to Manchester.
Oh yeah, so you're well accustomed to the money life.
Yeah. I feel like I'm well in it, and I'm going down to Northern Quarter in a bit to sort my gigs out down at Gulliver.
That's exactly
that. I'm running the door for myself because that's what we do.
That's it. That's it. And you can control the guest list as well. So there you go. Anyone you don't want in there, you're like, no, not coming in. Doorman.
How have you found this big city of Manchester then when you moved here?
I love it. I mean, I lived in London for 4 years. So for me, I wanted to move out of London because I got to the point where I'd done London, and I go there for work all the time and stuff. But I was coming to Manchester a lot with Spillthesound at the time, and just a lot of opportunities are in Manchester. So I wanted to move to a city that was like London, but cheaper and a good vibe. And Manchester was my only option. I was like, I just want to go to and I had friends in Manchester already as well. So, it just made sense. And I'd already made a little bit of a grounding in Manchester. So moving from London to Manchester, it didn't feel too much of a big scary thing because I'm a city girl through and through. And I feel like it's very similar in terms of busyness, but less people like boshing you out the way to get on the tram. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love Manchester, and when I first got here, it was quite intimidating because there was just so much going on. You felt like you were missing out all the time. You just can't possibly do everything, which is
so much. It's so much to learn as well. I feel like when I moved here, I was trying to like learn where everything is, and I was Google mapping my way around for such a long time. I think only now I've been here 2 years now, and I think I've only just understood where things are, because sometimes I get confused. I used to get confused where Deaf Institute was. I don't know why. But I know I can walk there now. But I used to just be like, why is that one just not sticking in my brain where it is? But I know it was fine.
I knew loads of different pockets, but I didn't know how those pockets connected to each other.
Yeah, because they are quite in different places.
Yeah. And I just, how was that? That feels like it's probably about 100 miles away, but it's like a 12-minute walk that way.
Yeah, that's it.
I love investigating Manchester and connecting those little places between each other. It's one of my favorite things out.
Oh, definitely. And there's some really lovely parts. And I just think there's so much independent sort of like different bits and bobs going on as well that are really nice. And I think there's a lot of creative people making stuff, which I love. So, it's like yourself with RGM, and there's lots of people just like supporting music, which I love. Like, there's so many people supporting these upcoming bands, and I just think it's so important, to just keep these bands going, because it's finding opportunities, because that's what Spill was all about as well. It's giving opportunities for bands to get like a platform, because Jules, a lot of bands are getting on Jules Holland, which I love to see as well, but it's quite hard to get on that platform, I think. So we wanted to create that kind of middle ground where we could get bands on a fully broadcast show, and give opportunities, because we don't charge them to come on, obviously. So it's because sometimes you have to pay for stuff like that, and it's expensive, isn't it?
Well, talk us through Spillthesound then. What is it? Where can we find it? And tell us all about it.
So Spillthesound is a wacky show that's come out of my brain. And it's basically a show where we interview bands, and they also do some live sessions. So it's a fully formatted TV show, but online. The interviews are from a tin bathtub full of balls. So we get one of the members of the band to get in the bath, do the interview. And then we also do a fun skit now, which is something we've added in. So it's very sort of like off the cuff. I'll tailor it to each band. So we might do like a quiz, or we'll do like a funny game or something like that. And then they also perform 3 tracks. So that all gets edited into a fully formatted show. And then we put it out across socials as well. So you can follow it on Instagram. The show is actually on YouTube, so you can watch the full formatted shows on YouTube, and we're on TikTok. We're on all the little bits and
All the
bobs.
things. We'll put a
All the
link
little
to it in the
things.
description. I have had a nose at it, and it just looks like a proper telly show. It looks ace.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're really proud of it, like how it's come. Because if you watch some of the pilot ones back in the day, it's interesting how it's developed, like
Yeah.
visually, which is
Yeah.
great. So, but it's nice to get some of the artists back. So we had Andrew Cushion actually do the pilot for us way back when
Oh,
we started, and we got him back.
commiserations.
I
I'm only, we've had him on here 4 times. I like
yeah,
when
you're gonna love this. Yeah. Then we got him back, and it was really nice. So it's nice to like get some of these artists back sometimes and see how they've progressed and from the beginning of the show. So yeah, so it's good.
so which artists have passed, have been through your studio and you've just seen them blossom? Let's celebrate the bands that we all love to shout about
Oh,
and
definitely. So I'll do what we've had. So Cassia was one that I really wanted to get. Like when I started the show, I was like, I really want to get Cassia, and we got them, and I'm a big fan of Cassia. Arcala absolutely smashed it at the moment. We had them on a couple of months ago. They're really good. Mouth Culture as well. That's a band that I caught at Truck Festival last year. Was it the year before? Might have been last year or the year before. I thought they were amazing. I interviewed them at Truck Festival, then I got them on the show, and they were brilliant. The guest list I'm a big fan of. They're doing some wicked things at the moment. They're coming through. The Claws as well. They're doing some really
love
good
their
things.
boys.
Like I love. They're so good. I'm looking forward to their album this year as well. That's going to be a big one for them. So yes, we're very lucky. And Andrew Cushion as well. Always lovely to have him on. Like, because when we have acoustic artists, it's interesting because obviously we have such a full format, but when we had Andrew Cushion on, he just fills the space. I just think he's just because he's got such a great personality as well.
Yeah.
He's such a good person to have, and for him to just do an acoustic is brilliant. So it just, it's nice having that diversity on the show as well. And all these bands that we've had on, they're going on to successes, and it's so nice to see. So we like to champion sort of bands that are on the cusp of just about to sort of like
Yeah.
break in. So that's kind of like where we go and upwards from there, really. So, and we've started to have bands get in contact from America and New Zealand. Like we had a band on from New Zealand the other day, which was amazing. We had a band on from America who contacted us. So, I'm getting more bands asking me to come on the show now rather than me approaching, which is really cool. So, which is really nice. But yeah, we can't have everyone, which is a shame. It's because we've obviously got like a production cycle and stuff, but there's certain bands that we're looking to book more bands now because obviously summer's a bit busy. Now we're going into the next bit of booking bands, so I'm getting emails going out at the moment, being like, "Do you want to come and sit in a bath with me?" And see what they say. But
That's
yeah,
nice.
it's been good, yeah. But it's some very good bands on there. If you want to check out some new music, there's some really cool bands on there that I back.
Definitely.
Like everyone we have, I back as well. So
We need to be sharing more of that stuff on RGM, I think, Scove. Let's have a chat after and get some prepared
absolutely,
that for you, mate. Nice one. So
absolutely.
do you think you could work for anybody else now?
I think I mean with a show like I've got, it'd be tricky because I like the full control.
Yeah.
But with any other presenting stuff, I'm happy to just take the reins. I think if it's a project, say if someone bought Spill the Sound and they were like, well, we have to now do everything, I'd be like, no, you're not, no,
Yeah.
you're not. But yeah, I mean, I can. If it's like for a company or brand, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy to just be told what to say. But yeah, if it's my own thing, I've always been very hands on with how I like it to look. So it's a bit like it's interesting. I was watching Amelia de Mordenberg talk about Chicken Shop Date, and she's exactly the same. She does all
Yeah.
the clips for her socials and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's a very direct way on how because when it's your baby, you kind of think, yeah, I don't think I could let anyone come in and run the shop. Although it would be nice sometimes because you do take on a lot of work, don't you, when you do that? I think like you
You're right.
burn yourself a bit dry.
We've got a team of writers at RGM. Without them,
Yeah.
we won't be anything. But it's a bit of a shame, really, because I've ended up a bit of a manager of it all. So
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of chance to listen to the submissions that come in personally,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the worst thing about doing this thing because there's so many other things that we can be doing to try and grow it and find new people to cover this festival, and all that to keep the
Absolutely.
content running. We bring out like 3 or 4 things a day, which is a lot of content.
It is, but it's good though, and it keeps the hype
Yeah,
up as well because you've got to
yeah.
keep the socials popping. It's very important.
Got to, mate. You have got to. And how do you find the opportunities now? Now you've established yourself doing your own thing. Has it? I presume it's made it easier for you to.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think, oh yeah, it has. And I think people have sort of you, you kind of get to a space where people know of you and they know your personality. And obviously I have a show reel, so that goes, I do have an agent as well. So that helps sort of like with some of the places I can't tap into, my agent will kind of do that. And a lot of people do contact my agent to book me for certain things, like brands and things like that will go through my agent, or like companies and things like that. But then I've also, because I was on my, obviously like didn't have an agent for like a lot of my career, I made contacts myself and I was emailing people like every day and all the time being like, oh, do you want to present it for this, or do you want to present it for that? And I made a show reel and things like that, and it just gets better and better. And you
Yeah.
know, and it's just, but there's like opportunities that come back around as well, like with people that you contact. Like I had a really good opportunity at the end of last year to present for Skoda and Chelsea Women's FC.
Mm.
And that came from a contact that I'd contacted, like, I don't know, a couple of years in my career before. And she remembered me and she was like, oh, this opportunity has come up. I think you'd be perfect. So it's just making those, having both really, it helps definitely. But
And we've not mentioned the gaming side of things yet. Just before
yeah.
we were comparing Neon between behind each other
Ta-da!
for your gaming stuff. So how do you find the gaming stuff and the live comments and the live stuff that comes through? Like, it's Twitch, isn't it, that you use for that?
It is, yeah. It's Twitch and TikTok. So I simultaneously stream on both, which is
Ah,
interesting. You get two very different like crowds on both, which is cool. Yeah, no, it's good actually. It is good. Like I horror games, because I've come from a bit of a comedy background myself as well, and that's why I used to do a lot of comedy skits and things like that. So I needed like something that I could stream that could be funny, I think, because that's the point. Like people want you to be scared. I name a lot of the characters on the game as well. So like if a zombie comes at me, it's a Margaret or a Barry. No
okay.
offense to Margarets or Barrys out there, nothing to do with you. It just is a name that pops in my head. And yeah, so it's really fun and it's very interactive, and you know, and it's, we've got a little Discord community. And I think what the nice thing about gaming is that there's people that join the streams and they're quite sometimes quite low in their lives, or like they,
Hmm.
you know, they don't have many people to go out with friends and things, and they say, you know what, your streams really help me. Every night I like coming to watch a stream because there's a little community there they can all chat to and they make friends, and I think it's really nice. And I think that's what streaming does for people. It kind of gives a platform and a community where people can join and maybe not feel alone if they're feeling a bit alone on a Friday night and they want to just watch something. So it is really rewarding in that respect. And you know, and it's just good fun. And that they'll cheer you. If I feel down and I go on a stream, they'll cheer me up because they're really funny. So you know what I mean? And it's good fun. So
And
it's a nice little world to be
is
in.
it just like horror games that you do then?
Yeah.
Is it
So I liked it.
Right,
So
okay.
can't sleep at night, but it's fine. Is what, isn't it?
How often do you do that then?
So I tend to do most weekday nights. I mean, it is
Yeah.
work permitting because obviously I'm freelance, so I get a lot of work in different places. I was away in Cardiff last week for work as well, and I couldn't do it. But yeah, so it's mainly weeknights, like Monday to Friday. But sometimes Friday not so much because I go and have a little drinkaroo in
Yeah,
town
yeah, good
with
on
some friends. I'll go to a gig or something. But yeah, so mainly Monday to Friday, and then the occasional other ones as well.
you.
But yeah,
Well,
it's good.
you know, I'm just want to say thank you for joining me for the podcast, mate. I keep seeing
Oh, thank you for
you
having me.
in Bridlington for the last couple of years. I keep seeing you about gigs, and I just keep saying to myself, I've got to say something different to her next time I see her. I've always had a few beers because I enjoy a drink myself, and
We all have a bevy. We all have a bevy.
it's nice. And drink responsibly, everybody. By the way,
Absolutely, yeah.
and yeah, I really appreciate you coming and joining us for this episode, Scof. And I'm going to put a link to all your stuff in the description of this podcast so people can get involved with it. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people that have supported you through the years, or is there any kind of message to the people, the Scof fans out there that are enjoying having this chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And that big love to everyone that's kind of been there from day one as well, that, you know, sees my little wins and they comment on it. And do you know what? It's a lot of bands that follow my journey as well as me following theirs. And they are like big supporters of me and I'm big supporters of them. And, you know, it's nice to see people in the industry bigging each other up. So I really appreciate that. And keep sending me your music because I like finding new music. So keep sending it through, please.
Same here as well, but submit through the website, not just put your
Yeah.
Spotify.
Emails.
I need more information. Well, please, it's an absolute pleasure to join you. To join
Oh,
us on the podcast this week, and I really appreciate your work. I love what you're doing. Love the vibe that you've got and how much you're supporting bands and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, thanks for joining us, mate. Thank you.
oh, thank you for having me. It's been lovely. And you keep smashing it as well, Carl, because, you
Cheers,
know,
pal.
you got the backdrop, you're smashing it.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.